Hello. Today we are doing our follow through episode on the Business of Life Masterclass podcast from our interview with Valerie Boey Ramsey. Her original episode aired on July 16th, and the topic is get interested and get the story. Little clue there. Barb Zant here, media sales leader and founder of the lifestyle brand, the Stay at Work Mom.
Hi, everyone. It is Debbie Lundberg, performance and mindset coach with Presenting Powerfully. Hey, Barb, how's it going?
It is going great. So, Valerie had been on our list since year one. I think Valerie was our first feedback or one of the first feedbacks with audio and our intros that we implemented right away.
Yes, she talked to us about how the audio sounded, which led us to doing our podcast in
Your
the closet in the house. And we used to have so much fun in there, even though it was pretty crowded because the house was built in 1956, so the closet wasn't huge. And then she gave us wonderful feedback on shortening our introduction. So hopefully our listeners who have been kind and gracious with us know now that we simply ask our guests to provide us with 3 to 4 facts about themselves instead of my going to LinkedIn and you're doing research and coming up with it. We ask them for 3 to 4 of these, and moving forward, which what didn't come from Valerie but came from us, we're now implementing asking people to put a phonetic pronunciation on that, because you and I have both made mistakes on people's names, and we consistently learn. And Valerie was one of the first people, being a journalist and being somebody who'd wanted to be, well, she wanted to be somebody on the desk, that she had gone through a lot of training and coaching and development. And she really graciously shared with us a lot before we ever had her on the show. And then, yeah, she's been a listener from the get-go. And then we thought about asking her on.
Yes. And you talked about the name corrections. That is the only time that we will make edits, is because we want our guest name to be correct. Other than that, we free flow, and I'm usually the one that will make a mistake, but that is in life what we do, and it's conversational.
That's part of it. We've had recently where I accidentally went on too early and recorded an entire show without you. And that was on me, but we didn't re-record it because that was our fault, not our guest's fault. So we only want our guests to feel great and have a great time. And so you're right. We simply will re-record if it's the name. And other than that, our mistakes come right through, not because we want to be super flawed, but because, like you said, we're human.
We're human, and it is life. So one of the first things that I implemented is, and it's one of the things that I was doing before. And as we're massaging our schedules, or I massage what I'm doing with these tips, some work, some I keep in, some it's different seasons of life. It reminded me of some of the things that you're doing now with your routine, and I like that. And so her routine starts the night before, at 6 o'clock in the evening, and so I like that. It was a reminder with preparing, and then and I had moved up some of my gratitude things at night, and I think you do something like that. I don't know, you'll talk about that. But then she also had the visualization, which is a theme that we've seen in or heard in the last couple of our guests that we've had on. And so I like doing that and visualizing how the day will go. So I added kind of starting my routine back up the evening before. What about you?
Very similar, Barb. I mean, to go back in time, how you and I met was through Valerie.
Yes.
Over a decade ago. So we've got to give a shout out to Valerie for that you two worked together in Fort Myers, I believe, and for many, many years. So
Yeah.
all of us have spent time together, but it was really interesting having someone like Valerie on the show. Is a bit of what you're saying is we didn't know her routine, because even though we've been friends with her for so long, we're not around her as she's prepping like that. So yes, so some of the visualization that I do a lot of visualization in the moment, and in particular in sports, and if I'm challenged on a run. So a little known fact, I think but a lot of our listeners wouldn't know, is when I first had challenges, some medical challenges years and years and years ago, I went for a hypnosis. And it was a lot about the woman who I went to, Debbie Lane, who still does it. She's really good. She said, instead of true hypnosis, let's do a very structured visualization. So that takes us back, I mean, over 20 years ago. And Valerie, thinking about it, I mean, she's faced some really uncomfortable places, people, situations in her life as a career journalist, being out in the field. And so really it got me thinking more than sports, because I visualize other times, but the day before the visualization is really good to think about walking through the day and how it will flow. So you're right. I mean, Michael and I do those, what were our 3 to 4 positives for the day. And then we added what we're looking forward to after we had a guest on. And now some of that visualization, like what will that look like? What, we talk about what we're looking forward to. And so then it's like, well, what would that look like if it was exciting or successful? So absolutely good one to bring in from Valerie. How about you?
Well, I like the guided visualization. I didn't even know that that was a thing. So we'll have to think about that in the near future on how to work that in.
Okay, well, because then in my Burris coaching, now I was trained on that. And who would be great to have on the show is Jessie, who's a photographer, and she asked me to do it during COVID, and I did it the day before the kidney donation. So I will ask Jessie if she wants to come on, and perhaps she can tell us a little bit more, because she really reminded me of it. I used to do it a lot more. And so Jessie brought it back, and now Valerie bringing it up. So the guided meditations we would do in those weekend retreats that I led. So yeah, we have a lot we could talk about with that.
Yeah. Yes, how fun. Um, so Valerie, similar to Ricky, one of our last guests, does a lot with mentoring. And so I really thought about that. And as we both do that as well, making sure that I always have someone on my list that I'm working on that. And then she talked about this. This also reminded me of you, is stopping the drama. And so I had a gift give to me some time ago, and it said no drama llama. And so I bought that same gift and passed that forward to someone else,
Oh,
because
good.
I don't engage in drama either. It's clutter. And none of us should use our compressed time for that at all.
You're so right. And that's something that I value in you very much, is we don't. I mean, it's really, if we tell a story, it's for reference, for understanding what's
It's
happening.
never talking about people, never.
Right. Not to expand or perpetuate the challenge, perhaps as a reference, and then moving on. And then usually you and I are attempting to solution it or share the outcome. So it's good that Valerie hasn't gotten caught up in that. And something that it reminded me of is, there could be some drama around aging parents. And yet she
Yeah.
really talked about how her relationship with her parents was so important to her. And I think you and I both guessed that that was going to be her biggest influence. So it's lovely to see, since we had her on, since we recorded it, because we often record these ahead. Since then, there's been Father's Day and some things that we got to see pictures of she and her mom and dad and her father in particular. So it made me just happy for her. The people who are really close with their parents. It's, I was thinking, if we looked back over these, more than 250, more than 260 shows, what do you think about a tenth of the people have said their parents, one of their parents or both of their parents, were the biggest influence?
Yeah. I think it's even more.
You're probably right.
I'll have to look at AI and have them scrub that and get a real answer for us.
Well, that it did make me think about that, because I think if you'd asked me 6 years ago when we started this, and even before that when we were prepping, I guessed more people. And it's not that it's wrong or disappointing. I think I would have thought that at least half or a third at least would say it. So now when we hear it, it's not as common. And I think that's due to things like what Valerie does as a journalist. I mean,
Yes.
we get exposed to so many people and things now that we have different influences. And yet for her, she was really, talking about her parents.
And one of the things that I love when I spend time with Valerie, and it's similar to you, is so when she was talking about the challenges of um, aging parents and being the caregiver, is she's affecting change. So things that she's coming across, she's reaching out to legislatures and she's making change. So she's getting laws changed for the better of her parents and for people like us that have parents too. So I love that. So making change is key.
Person of action. So we know that Valerie continues to influence and make changes and has had positive influence on both of us. And the three of us will likely be together again. I know you both invited me, so we will put that up on our Facebook and Instagram when we're together again. But yeah, great. Valerie brings good energy, good, she prepares for it. I mean, even though she's a professional, one of the things that struck me was that she had gotten very prepared for our interview. And when you're somebody who has the accolades and the awards that Valerie does in journalism over the years and has been recognized and on national news and all of these things as the key go-to person, she still took the time to be prepared for our show, which who can't be you know feel that professionalism and that respect that she had. So we
Yes,
appreciate you, Valerie.
yes, and our listeners will appreciate too. And please know that we to stay connected to us on Instagram and Facebook at the Business of Life Masterclass. Me on Instagram at the Stay at Work Mom, and Debbie Lundberg is Debbie Lundberg everywhere. Debbie Lundberg is Debbie Lundberg Coach on TikTok. So if you like on TikTok.
That's one of
If
those.
you like what you heard, please rate us 5 stars. We are committed to providing you with 5-star guests just like Valerie. So stay tuned for thank you for joining us for this episode of the Business of Life Masterclass, the podcast for successful people embracing every chance to accomplish and experience all you can in business and in life.
As we like to say, listen, choose, do. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you have ever thought, gosh, I'd like a collaborator, I wonder what else I could do, it's likely that the answer is a coach. Hi, I'm Debbie Lundberg, Performance and Mindset Coach with Presenting Powerfully. And if you would like confidential coaching to drive you to the next idea, the next role, or even to figure out your own brand, please reach out to us at Presenting Powerfully, 813-494-4438. Thank you.